Guys, the Guardians keep on winning. I'll leave it at that. The floor is yours.
They do. Yesterday, they scrapped out a win. I thought they were going to goof around with Cade Smith, who I liked early on, but now he just can't seem to miss bats. Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to blow that lead. They blew one 5-1 lead earlier and had to scrap back. I thought that we were looking at the same thing. I think the biggest takeaway for me so far this season was the biggest difference maker yesterday, and that's Carlos Carrasco. And guys, if you would have told me in February that I would be saying that 3 weeks into the season, I would have said, you're absolutely nuts. But he has, and I'm not sure, I don't think this is sustainable for him, but he keeps giving them one quality start after another. There's always a hiccup, though. Yesterday it was the first. 29-pitch first inning, but then he settled in, and then you could see both his experience and his veteran mentality kick in, and he started pitching. And I don't know how long this is sustained. I can tell you this. They will not finish with the best record in the American League. They won't. They currently sit with the best record in the American League, but they won't finish that way. But to me, he's been the guy so far.
They're tied with the Yankees for the best record in the American League. Only the Braves have a better record, a half game better. I am concerned about the starting pitching right now. Carrasco has done a nice job, but if you look at his strikeout to walk ratio, if you look at his whip, I mean, those numbers are alarming. Eventually,
it's smoke and mirrors for me.
Bieber has been very Bybee has been very underwhelming so far. Even when his last start was fine, but last year he looked electric when he was on the mound.
I thought he had more moxie to him last year.
Yeah, just missing something.
I agree with that.
Logan Allen hasn't been good. We know McKenzie with the elbow. We knew that was a concern. He's looked terrible so far. Gavin Williams hopefully be back in early May, but he hasn't even had a rehab start yet. So I am a little concerned about the starting rotation, but the bats, for the most part, have been so good to start the season.
It's unreal.
And they are we talked about this the other day with Mike. It's not just they're making hard contact. If you look at the exit velocity, it's way up for the Guardians.
And they never did that last year.
No, last year they were the worst in the league by a mile.
But they're hitting the ball hard now.
With authority. That doesn't mean a home run every time, but you want a double rather than a single.
Well, they're still down. I don't know where they are in home runs. Are they 28th, 29th?
No, they're tied in home runs per game. They are tied for 15th.
Oh, wow.
I'd sign for that right now.
Okay, yeah, I did not see that coming.
They're averaging 0.95 home runs per game, which is like 150 home runs.
Yeah.
What did they hit
total
last year?
home runs bowl, they're 16th, by the way, in total home runs.
Okay.
Tied for 15th in home runs per game. I like doing per game.
I can think of two.
Whatever, same.
Hosey had one robbed that was over the fence, and it was taken away.
Yep.
And the ball yesterday, I think Freeman hit the ball that was 3 feet from going out over the big monster, over the green monster.
They're hitting with way more authority. I talked about this a little bit the other day, Jay. I think Stephen Kwan is setting the tone right off the. I know he didn't play yesterday.
Right.
He is hitting with way more authority this year, and he's like, okay, I'm going to strike out a little more. That's all. Kwan's not going to strike out 150 times, but I'm okay with him striking out a little more if that means he's going to hit with some more authority. And Josh Naylor, who reached that next level as a player last year, has continued it so far this year. He's been great. He's really been their best hitter. Giménez kind of looks like the guy we saw 2 years ago again. Doesn't have the home runs, obviously, but he's hit the ball really well. I just like a lot of what they're doing. They're running the bases well. They're playing good defense. And the bullpen, for the most part, has been excellent.
I think the bullpen's been very good.
I think, I'm not going to say it's a changing in the guard, but I think we just got to get used to them winning games a little bit differently, right? We've been used to for a lot of years, the Guardians, usually live and die with pitching, and we usually know that they always have good pitching, and they've had some Cy Young Award winners. But now there's been a change of mentality at the plate. There's been a change, and I think players are playing more free, and I think players are enjoying this because there isn't this organizational philosophy that, hey, we want to take 30 pitches, we want to see a bunch of pitches, we want to play small ball or go deep in the count. It's something to be said for you to go. When I played baseball, I didn't even look at the third base coach. Ain't nothing to tell me. I'm going up here swinging. Like, hey, listen, don't give me the take sign. You know what I come up here to do. So a lot of those guys, you talk about hits, man. You know, Quan, 29 hits. He's, I think, third in the league, Major League Baseball.
Guardians is 7th in hits per game in baseball.
Wow.
Giménez, 22. Naylor, 21 hits. Ramirez, 20 hits. And think about it. They're even getting guys that are platooning, not having, positions locked down. Arias has been swinging the bat.
He's been hot this week.
He's been hot. He's been knocking in, runs and batting in. And so the thing is, this may be what they're best at now. This may be how they're going to have to win some games. And I think that's the sign of a good team, to be able to win in different ways than you traditionally have.
Yeah, that's a tough pivot when you're when you're an
Yeah.
organization that's built on pitching, and suddenly you look around and one arm after another is hurt or not performing. Now it becomes almost scramble mode. What do we do now? Well, they hadn't made any moves. They've just gotten better production out of their hitters. I don't know where the shift came in the point of horizon, like how they moved
Right.
there. Because clearly, and I reported this from spring training, a lot of the players were hinting at it, but Will Brennan was the one guy that came right out and told me, because I asked it very pointedly to him after hearing it from a number of other players were sort of dancing around the issue. I asked him very pointedly, is the organization speaking out loud about a philosophical change offensively? And he didn't dodge it. He said, yeah, we are. We are moving our point on the horizon. It's no longer, don't be afraid to swing and miss. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to take our hacks. We're still going to be judicious at the plate, and we're going to have good pitch discipline and plate discipline. But it's one thing to say that, Bull, as you know.
Sure, yeah.
They pivoted on the stick.
Right, no doubt. It's been obvious.
It's stunning to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, was this, maybe it was Stephen Vogt. He's the only voice in the room that's different.
Well, he's done a great job
Yeah.
so far.
Oh, my
Major
God.
kudos to him.
Flying colors, A+.
He's
There's a
handled the
couple
bullpen. Yeah, there's always
minutia
gonna be-
moves.
yeah,
I didn't
sure.
really like sticking with Cade Smith as long as he did yesterday.
Right.
But eventually he made the right move, and we're micromanaging. And by the way, that's armchair.
And he's still a rookie manager.
Yes,
There's going to be some hiccups
but
along the way.
here's what I judge him most on, okay? It's all about culture. We talk about this in sports so often, but I don't think we give it its just due. It is so important. When Jarvis Landry came in and changed the culture with the Browns, we see the team making the playoffs. They're no longer expecting bad things to happen to them. They're expecting good things to happen.
Yeah.
This Guardians team, and I mentioned on Monday's show, Stephen Vogt keeps using this word over and over and over and over. Love. He keeps talking about how much they love one another, how the camaraderie is great. Watch a game that's late and close, 8th, 9th inning. The whole bench is up on the top step of the dugout. All of them.
It's an underrated part of success, the chemistry of a baseball team.
Couldn't agree more.
You spend so much time with each other.
You're with each other more than you're with your family.
And the crazy thing about this, Jay, is when you look at it, everybody ready to play. Look at this. Florial, he's played 12 games. Laureano, 13. Fry, 11. Naylor, 14. And then the rest of the guys, Freeman, Brennan, 15, 16.
Yes.
Arias has played. Everybody,
Yeah.
when you come to the park and you come in and you're there, it's good to know that, hey, I'm going to get some at-bats today.
Right.
Hey, we play a 4-game set, I'm going to get some run. That's why everybody is engaged. People are supporting each other because you're going to be used and to stay ready.
And that's what Stephen Vogt has done best. He said it to me in spring training. He doesn't like the word platoon. He doesn't. What he said was, we need to see what we've got, and these guys are all going to get a look. Right. And I kind of filed that away, and I'm like, they all say that. Mm-hmm. But once you get into the real season, you're in it to win games. Here's the message he is sending to his 25. I believe in every one of you. Because no one's going 3 days without getting an at-bat.
Right.
Bull, that almost never happens in baseball.
It is interesting, because they have some spots where there isn't a guy who should play every day. And so that makes sense to do that. And what he's doing, I like this, and some managers don't do this, believe it or not, is when a guy's getting hot, like he's keeping him in the lineup.
Stays with him.
Arias couldn't hit early, and he was in and out, and then he got hot for a couple days. They gave him another chance.
Put him at third base,
Florial,
find
same
spots
thing.
for
Yeah,
him.
move guys around, be flexible. They have a lot of guys with position flexibility,
That's
which
the
is
key.
important.
You know what it reminds me
Arias,
of?
Fry, Freeman. A lot of these guys can move around.
And that's so big because it reminds me of Belichick's Patriots. How he always used to say, I don't look at Brown, for instance, as a guy. Troy Brown was Troy Vincent. Who was
Troy Brown?
Troy Brown.
Yeah.
He said, he's a wide receiver, but the guy's an athlete. I could put him in a cover situation.
Right.
And that's kind of what Vogt is doing. Vogt's saying, so I've got 3 guys that can play right field. Who the hell uses 3 catchers?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
And it's a way to get Fry at bats.
Mm-hmm.
You can, and he's not afraid to, DH Hosey for a day,
right,
and let RAS get the at bats at third. I just think he's hit every note perfectly.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want to make any long-ranging predictions based on this, but so far did the Guardians get this move right? I think it's a slam dunk, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would like to know, and I don't think we'll ever know because teams don't give this kind of information away. I would like to know who was the choir leader on changing the direction of the offense in the organization. Was it Antonetti?
Right.
Was it Stephen Vogt coming in and saying, "Wait a minute, guys, we're doing what?"
Was it the players?
Okay, great. Yeah. You guys, there's no trophy for striking out the fewest.
I know, right? Exactly.
So I don't know. And maybe it was the players. Maybe the players were saying, because I know Josh Bell did not like some of the things that the organization was having him do. And there were probably other players that didn't like it either.
Yeah.
So maybe it was an aggregate of all of it. But to me, the one voice that changed, the hitting coach is the same, the general manager is the same, the hierarchy in the organization is the same. Stephen Vogt came in, and now it's different, and I like the way it looks.
Well, it's something to be said. I remember playing, at times where in high school we have a new coach or in college we have a new head coach. And there's something to be said for a fresh slate. You could either
100%.
You could be a guy that the coach loves.
Right.
Like you could get away with certain things. But when they bring in that new coach, everybody starts over. Like, you're not a favorite, you're not a veteran. Everybody start over. So the guys that didn't think they got a fair shot, now they're energized. Right. Now the guys that were in Tito's good graces, now they have to say, I gotta represent and start all over again. I gotta make sure this guy knows what I'm able to bring to the table.
I think right off the top, sending Miles Straw to the minors, it was a signal to the whole team. I don't care what you're getting paid. I don't care about your contract. You play well, you play. You don't play well, you don't play. Yeah. I thought that was a good message. And I'll tell you something else. I think you said it, Jay, about like these late inning wins. We didn't see any of that last year.
No.
When the Guardians fell behind, it was like, well, game over. See you next game.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many times in the first 3 weeks have they not only come from behind, but had to come from behind a couple of times after blowing a lead?
Like 5-1. Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly.
They would blow a lead and then come back and win. Or there was
Which is reversing momentum in the middle of the game.
Exactly,
Hard to do.
which they were terrible at last year. And they've been so good at it so far.
I don't even see an intimidation factor. Like, when you play the Yankees or the Red Sox, there's that thing where it's like, oh, goodness, like, we're going to try to stay in the game. And you watched it a couple years ago when we played the Yankees in the playoffs. It was like, hey, we would be up, and then they was like, yeah, let's go ahead and get you out of here with these 2-3-run home runs, right? But in Boston, I was really impressed about the way that they had to battle back. Yeah. Sometimes they gave up the lead. The crowd was starting to get into it, but they went up there and had good at bats. I just like the way that they're aggressive because you never are out of a game when you're aggressive at the plate.
Right now. They're a fun baseball team to watch. We talked about it the other day, but I'll tell you, they're going to need to make a trade at some point.
Oh yeah.
By the way, for the first time since was it 2012 they traded for Ubaldo Jimenez?
Yeah.
I think it was 2012, wasn't it?
Yes, that sounds right.
They haven't really made a significant starting pitcher trade since then. They haven't needed to.
No.
But you think about it right now. There's nobody coming from the minors.
Well, unless Gavin Williams.
Well, besides Gavin Williams.
Re-enters.
But even still, like, we don't know if McKenzie's going to make it through the season. At some point, they're going to have to bring in another. I'm not saying they got to go crazy and get the best guy on the market.
Sure.
And I want to see them get one more outfielder.
I know that this is a funny name. I'll just bring it up again because it was in the news yesterday or 2 days ago. I know Trevor Bauer seems to be a non-starter, poison ivy. What are you thinking?
Hey, but did you see?
But his other primary accuser, the other woman who up till 2 days ago was looked at as she had credibility, She's now in jail.
She in jail
for fraud.
for extortion.
And this seemed to be a career pattern for her where she was going after many pro athletes.
I can't jump right now. I'm going to say
not going down that road.
I know, but listen, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to be in an August pennant race, and they're going to look at this guy who's available, and they're going to say, hey, what do we have to lose other than bad PR?
He might be a knucklehead, but as this stuff comes out, I don't think that people should dismiss it because we've talked to a lot of baseball people, and they're very dismissive of what's happened.
I know they are. It's incredible.
You have to pay attention to the facts that is laid out. This woman's in jail.
There's more facts that. Well, I know Mike's got to do a read real quick, so go ahead, Mike.
I'll give it right back to you guys. We just got to get one more in to make sure that we meet our obligations. Stephen Vogt's a competitive guy, just like Jay, just like G, just like Bull. And I'm going to guess that Stephen Vogt in his free time is playing Monopoly Go because that's what all the competitive people are doing. The best part about Monopoly Go is that you can play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up cities that bring you money. And Stephen Vogt is allegedly, according to me, one of over 150 million people to download the Monopoly Go app. He plays with his friends. He charges them rent on iconic properties. He can also rob their vaults for riches, just like I do to Anthony, and the leaderboards show you who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just the competitive side that loves Monopoly Go, because you can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game, join your friends, and Stephen Vogt allegedly. Download Monopoly Go now free or on the App Store. Guys, continue.
We cannot confirm or deny that he's been seen in the dugout playing Monopoly Go on his phone.
Yeah. First of all, Bauer hasn't pitched in the big leagues in a while. We don't know how good he is.
Nobody did face big league hitters recently and fared pretty well.
That was a spring training game. He's been struggling apparently in the Mexican league.
You don't think the hitters that faced him in the spring training game will want to take him deep?
Yeah, we know what beyond the off the field stuff. The Guardians had enough of him. So
no, I know they were done with
going down that road.
Well, I can't either, and I don't know that we'll be down.
Not the Guardians, but it is something to be said for the fact that
this is his last shot. If nobody signs him this year, he's done.
You would think, and to your point, G, and this is what I go back to all the time. Like, the one thing that we hope is fair is our judicial system.
Well, we know that ain't fair.
Well, if we get to the point where we know our judicial system is rigged, we're in big trouble. And I don't mean just politically. I just mean in general. You have you can't have a banana republic judicial system politically or civilly. And here's the reason I say that is, like the thing we kept saying about Deshaun Watson. Where are the charges? Where are the charges he's been? And so if you look at his criminal record,
right?
Trevor Bauer does not have a criminal record. And yet he has been told by a sport, we don't want you because you're a bad guy.
And you know the crazy part about
Colin Kaepernick got blackballed. He did nothing.
Exactly.
And I was up in arms about that.
Now, the one thing about Colin Kaepernick is, and we did not have this with Trevor Bauer. When we last saw Trevor Bauer, he was at the top of his game. There was a period with Colin Kaepernick where he was completing less than 50% of his passes.
Yeah, but he was still good enough.
You would think.
If you're going to claim somebody did something and the energy that the media put out there that was negative, you have to put the same energy out to say, hey, that person who lied on you, they're in jail.
Hey, listen,
I
said as much as I don't like Bauer and I don't like him personally, if I were a team, I would certainly consider bringing him in because there's very little to lose. The PR stuff, that doesn't really negatively affect me.
I compare it to Chapman. Do you remember when the Cubs signed Chapman?
Yeah.
Their fan base was up in arms.
I was angry.
Because domestic violence against his wife, I believe. Yeah. Well, you know what made everybody forget about that? Holding the 2016 World Series trophy.